Greetings, everybody. It's RPG Grandma, and today I want to look at something from Arduin and one of my favorite resources. Look at that old art. Oh, my old messed up book here. I do have it, though, printed out. Easier to read in here. So I'm going to be reading from this one. Flora and fauna. So we're going to talk about fauna, animals, critters. Now, Arduin is actually a kingdom on the bigger world and the bigger setting. But that world, in many ways is like our world. It supports all kinds of life, including human life. And it has, like many fantasy settings, has some unique creatures. And that's what I want to talk about. So, the air shark. I want to talk about air sharks today. And that's like the first new monster that we get to see out of the mind of Mr. David Hargrave. Guys gotta, really, it's hard for me right now. So the air shark, its hit dice are 3+1 or 24+1. Number appearing D20, more in special frenzy situations. Dexterity is 14 to 18. Speed is 18 inches to 36 inches, air only. Armor class 5+2. Percentage liar, too stupid. We'll get to that in a second. Attacks 1 bite for D8 to 8 D10. The skin can do D2 to D12 points of scrape damage or brush buys. If you've ever felt shark skin, you'll know why that's like that. Looks as varied as each type of shark on Earth. They swim through the air like Earth sharks do through water. Due to the hydrogen gas bladders in their bodies, they are highly susceptible to fire, sometimes exploding, and a fireball equal to its hit dice and damage and 5 feet per hit dice in diameter. They are 100% fear-proof. Their rushing attacks bowl over all they hit of their own size or less, and they are used as mounts. You can find them sometimes randomly floating because they're being kept as mounts in dungeons by the Dinsians. Air sharky. So let's talk about air sharks. Well, why I'm bringing them up. Most of you don't play Arduin, I'm guessing. There's a new rules. They are coming out eventually here. So stay tuned, folks. Eventually that's going to happen. But Arduin's a gold mine of ideas, but it's also things you should think, and we're going to talk about why you should think about something like an air shark. First of all, how do air sharks fit into your game world? How they fit into the world of Arduin? Well, there's other air thingies in Arduin besides Pegasuses and dragons and your standard fare, your hippogriffs, your griffins. They have other flying critters, like also from David was the air squid that appeared in volume 1 of All the World's Monsters. Now, I'll be honest with you, as a kid, you just come up with ideas, you put them out there. As an adult, you just come up with ideas, you put them out there, and often you don't think past that, because real cool, this sounds cool to you, and that's why that monster can do X, Y, or Z thing. You want to, as the game master, you want to give the players something new to deal with, something unexpected. But flying marine life like this is is not unique. I mean, there's Gamma World creatures who do this stuff. I know from my Dragon magazine, I had like manta rays. Yeah, manta rays that could fly, and I think they could shoot lasers beams out of their eyes or something like that. It's been a while, but I vaguely remember reading about. It had like all this marine life that had become flying critters. So it is one way of keeping the game fresh. So that's something to think about. But also, a lot of you, um, I know wandering monster charts are like not cool anymore for a lot of game masters. You might want to consider opening your minds up to the idea of having charts for places, whether it's the city, whether it's the forest, the jungle, whatever. And if it's someplace that's open air, why don't you have flying things on it? Why can't a griffin be living in the mountain range that their player characters are currently wandering through? It is something to think about. Death from above. um, uh, you should have things like Pegasuses. I mean, if you have them in the game, why aren't there herds of wild Pegasi? You know, and then what eats the Pegasi? Well, clearly, air sharks must eat them. Air sharks might eat air squids, or air squids might eat the air sharks. You have an ecology there, and that brings us to the big hex crawl. Okay, people are really good. They got their hex crawl. They got their little flower pattern. There's different ways people make them, but right, you got your hex map. You got ruins on it, and you got like a few things about that. And over here, maybe you got some goblins living. So if the player character's party goes over to that area, you have some ideas spread around, right? But almost every idea I've ever seen has been what I would call um, ter- terrestrial. It's it's on the ground. I never see anybody put in, uh, you know, Griffin hunts here, or so they have a percentage chance of running into the Griffin, maybe. Um, uh, I never see that when people are making these maps and stuff. Just a thought. You might want to include flying beasties, even in an enclosed space. There's a reason for them to be there. For instance, bats. Why doesn't anybody get attacked by bats anymore? Bats can mess up your day. Knock out your torches, take out your lanterns. They can bite you. They can carry an unpleasant disease. These are things that should be in your game, and they're not the only flying thing that can be in a dungeon, underground caverns, caves, whatever you want to call it, catacombs. I mean, it's you should think about these things. Don't be afraid to create something new. I mean, that's how all these cool things came to be about. So think about this. Think about how to put these things in your game, whether you're playing a sci-fi game, Gamma World, I don't know, a space game, and you want to just make a kind of reversed world that marine life is the floating out there in the sky, or you're playing a fantasy setting. Mad Mage, made sharks fly, whatever it is. So, have fun with it. Think outside the box. And we'll do more on Arduin beasties. Peace and everybody. Oh, yeah, I forgot to say why it said it's too stupid to lie. That's because of a misprint in the original D&D rules. And so Arduin carried it on. It's kind of fun to read. So, are your monsters liars? Have a great day. Bye.